Schindler's List is such a powerful and emotional film, one of Steven Spielberg's masterpieces. It's set during the Holocaust and tells the true story of Oskar Schindler, a German businessman who saved the lives of over 1,000 Jews by employing them in his factories. This movie is heavy, but it's incredibly moving and full of unforgettable moments. Let me dive right in. The film starts with Oskar Schindler, played by Liam Neeson, this smooth-talking, charming businessman who's really in it for the money and status. He's not particularly interested in politics or the war, he's just looking to make a profit off of it. Schindler opens a factory in Krakow, Poland, making cookware for the German army. To get things rolling, he bribes Nazi officials, and through this Jewish accountant named Itzhak Stern, played by Ben Kingsley, he hires Jewish workers from the nearby ghetto, mainly because they're cheaper than Polish labor. At first, Schindler is indifferent to the horrors happening around him. The Nazi regime is brutal to the Jews, but he's more focused on getting rich. Stern, on the other hand, sees Schindler's factory as a potential refuge for as many Jews as he can save. Stern keeps adding more names to Schindler's employment list, knowing that being listed as a necessary worker might save someone from being sent to the concentration camps. Schindler's still not really aware of the significance of this, but he doesn't stop Stern. Then, things start to shift. There's this gut-wrenching moment when the Nazis liquidate the Krakow ghetto. They forcefully remove the Jewish residents, sending many to their deaths, and it's devastating. Schindler witnesses the whole thing from a hilltop, and this is when something changes in him. The most haunting part of this scene is the little girl in the red coat. The film is mostly in black and white, but her coat is shown in color as she wanders through the chaos, trying to hide. Schindler watches, and you can see the shock and horror in his face as he begins to realize the full extent of the atrocities happening right in front of him. The girl's red coat later reappears, discarded, symbolizing the loss of innocence and the reality of what's happening. Schindler, once focused solely on his business, becomes determined to save as many Jews as possible. And then there's Amon Goth, Ralph Fiennes, a sadistic Nazi officer who oversees a concentration camp. He's a brutal, terrifying figure who casually murders prisoners from the balcony of his villa, treating human lives as if they're worthless. Schindler has to constantly walk a fine line with Goth, pretending to be on the same side while secretly working against him to protect his workers. Schindler uses his factory as a cover to save lives. He creates a list, Schindler's List, of Jews who will work in his new ammunition factory. This list becomes their salvation because anyone on it is spared from being sent to Auschwitz. The scene where Stern types up the list, Schindler dictating names with increasing urgency, is incredibly intense. You can feel the weight of each name, each one a life saved from certain death. In one particularly emotional moment, Schindler's workers gift him a ring inscribed with a Talmudic quote, "Whoever saves one life, saves the world entire." Schindler, who's managed to save over 1,000 people, breaks down. He's devastated, feeling that he could have done more. He looks at his car and his gold pin, saying that they could have been traded for more lives. This scene just wrecks you, as it shows the full weight of guilt and grief he carries, despite all the good he's done. In the end, as the war ends, Schindler has to flee because he's still technically a member of the Nazi Party, and being seen as a war profiteer could get him executed by the Allies. His workers give him a letter explaining what he's done, in case he's captured, and the ring. As he leaves, the workers are liberated by the Red Army. The final scenes show the real survivors, those who were saved by Schindler, visiting his grave in Israel, placing stones on it as a sign of respect. It's a film that's both devastating and uplifting at the same time. Schindler starts out as this selfish, greedy businessman, but by the end, he's transformed into someone who risked everything to save as many lives as he could. The movie doesn't shy away from the horrors of the Holocaust, and it's incredibly hard to watch at times, but the story of redemption, humanity, and courage amidst such evil makes it unforgettable. Schindler's List is a story of hope in the darkest of times. It's about how one man made a difference, but it also reminds us of the millions who weren't so fortunate. It's the kind of film that stays with you forever.